Hey folks, it's Nate, and I've finally gone and done it. You see that pile of grayish metal laying right there? I don't know how I've survived for so long without a shop press, but I've finally decided to pick one up. So if you've been curious about one of these presses and you just want to kind of see how it goes together and whatnot, this is the video for you. Hang out with me while I assemble the Harbor Freight 20-ton shop press. Alright, so I don't expect this to be a step-by-step how-to on how to put this thing together, but I've already taken it out of the box, whatever. It was basically in a long, thin box that had been beat to hell and taped closed again, so I'm hoping I'm not missing any parts, but these presses, I just spent about $200 on this press. It comes with the hydraulic jack, which you see back there on my table, hopefully. Might be a little blurry in the background there, but there it is. And basically a big H-frame. Okay, and then it comes with some basic stuff to get you started, and really you're probably going to want to expand this, and there are a ton of videos out there about changes and modifications you can make to this press to make it a little more useful for what we use it for. I'm hoping in the not-so-distant future to pick up the Swag Offroad finger brake, because I would really like to be able to bend steel in my press. We're going to go ahead and get this thing put together. Don't expect a step-by-step. The directions that came with it are actually really simple. It's basically assemble this frame. Here's the nuts and bolts you're going to use to do it. So I'm just going to go ahead and get it done, and then we'll give you a tour of the press once I have it set up. Alright, so the assembly of this frame is really just kind of dirt simple. Pay attention here, because I did make a pretty stupid mistake, and maybe you'll pick up on it before we get there in the video. So, the basic concept here is you need to assemble these two uprights. There's two very large bolts that go through on each side of these uprights. So here I am putting those in there. There's 4 in all, right? They're pretty big. I think they were like 13/16ths. Once those are good and tight, I went through and I was basically trying to just compare the sizes of these bolts here because I wasn't sure which ones I needed for the feet. Now the feet are simply these two pieces of angle that you see laying in front of here, and then there's a cross brace that goes in between them. Now the way this lines up is the outer sort of I-beams there. The bolts go through those, then they go through the feet, and then through the cross brace. So I took the longer bolts because they seemed to be the right ones. They were the right numbers of them. And here they go in. Let these nuts down, of course. Now I just kind of snugged these up, and you'll see in a minute, because I wanted to make sure that these feet were good and square. Just trying to find the right size socket. It was like a 9/16 or a 1/2 inch. Okay, now they're just snugged up. Now I'm going to take the whole frame and put it up on its head. And then I basically hit it with the mallet to make sure that they were bottomed out. Then I took a framing square to make sure that they were square. Then I tightened these bolts down. And I rechecked to make sure they were square, and everything was good and square. So now flip it back over. The next piece is the bottle jack onto the frame that it goes on. I found that setting it across the feet of the press was a great way to hold it up while I lined up these bolts. There's 2 holes in the bottom of the jack that line up with 2 threaded holes in the brace. There you go. So the next step at this point is to get this jack basically hung from these springs. That jack is heavy. The frame is heavy. The whole thing together, kind of heavy. This isn't where I intend to keep it, and I don't have casters for it yet. So what I'm going to do now is clear out the corner I intend to put this in, move it over there, and we'll pick up from there. Alright, so now that it's over here, I'm basically going to try to get that, you know, the press arm, or whatever you call that, up and in place. This is going to be fun. That's all I'm going to say. It's going to be fun. Alright, so you know, all that wasn't all that bad. What I'm going to do now is tighten these up a bit. Hope that sits in there like it's supposed to. I get the feeling this should be level, so we're going to measure that. Just about 10 on the nose. About an 1/8 of an inch difference here. Now we're spot on. So that's basically, we put these pins in here, and then this shelf. I done screwed up. So I thought these ends were open, just like this. They're not. This was supposed to go on before the... Damn. Well, I think I'll take the top off and slide this down over the top. That means I gotta pull this guy out of here. Not a big deal. I think now I have a shop press configured. Now, let me get you reset up for a sec, and I'll show you a few things that, well, things that I noticed during the install, and yeah, we'll go from there. So number one, there are supposed to be gussets that bolt in here. They're not in my box. I don't know if they fell out because the box was damaged, if it's from a design that they've, you know, eliminated those, but I feel like they're missing, right? Because there's holes here for them. There's nuts and bolts here for them, but they're not here. So I'm not going to make a big deal out of that. I can just make some. They were basically strips with holes in them. They get bolted right here, and you're done. So maybe I'll make some of those up, whatever. Number 2, I just mentioned, I intend to put casters on the bottom of this. I haven't, of course, gotten to that yet. I didn't know what size casters I was going to need. And, you know, when I went to Harbor Freight to pick this thing up, so I'm going to pick some up. I'm going to get some measurements, whatever, figure out what casters I'm going to need. And then I can wheel this thing out of this corner and into the main floor of the shop when I need to. So that'll be number 2. The number 3 thing that I've noticed is there's supposed to be, what do they call, arbors that sit here, right? They're missing. They're not in my box. I don't know if that's a thing that was missed or fell out of the box or whatever, but they're not in here. I've been told by a few folks that the arbors that come with this thing are crap anyway, so I'll probably just buy some. Again, not going to make a big deal out of that. All of the core components, the nuts and bolts to hold it together, the jack, I haven't tested the jack yet, but I assume it's in functional shape. We're going to give it a try in a sec. But all that stuff seems to be in good working order, so I'm not going to make a big deal out of those little gussets and the arbors being missing. So what I'm going to do now is give the jack a run through in the directions they say to give it a good test, and if it seems wonky, you might have to bleed it. Hopefully I don't have to do that because I already put it in here. And then we're going to close with the video, so stick with me. So obviously this isn't a great test, but I figured I wanted to smash something. So I just took a piece of scrap steel, put it in here. I'm just going to kind of put some pressure on it, see what happens. It bends it. What do you know? See if it returns like it's supposed to. Now, one thing a lot of people do is they replace this knob with like a thumb screw. So maybe that's a thing I'll do at some point. But, you know, there you go. Some 3/16 steel. I just bent it into a little bit of a U shape. Probably wasted some steel. Whatever. Yeah. So far, whatever. I've got a press now. So here you go. My brandy new Central Machinery Harbor Freight 20-ton shop press with bottle jack. So a few things that's worth mentioning. They don't give you anywhere to put this when it's not in use. That would be handy. Maybe something rigged up on the side here to put this, or I don't know, maybe I can do something that's going to be kind of in the way, get lost maybe, whatever. Otherwise, like I said, apart from those gussets that are missing, and the, what's that, deck arbors, is that what they're called? Apart from those being missing, I am happy so far. The press seems to work. I mean, this is a pretty darn simple design. It is an H-frame that's pretty darn beefy. This steel, I mean, you know how a lot of Chinese-built stuff has chintziness to it? This feels good and solid. The finish on it seems nice. I don't know what else to say. It's a press, right? A lot of people have these presses, and they have nothing but good to say about them. Like I said, except for those arbors I've heard about. I'm going to find that I'm saying the wrong word or something. But whatever. The things for the deck that you use for pressing things. They ain't there. So there we go. Obviously not a content-rich video here, folks. I bought this thing. Like I guess I didn't really mention that at the beginning. I did buy this. This is not something that Harbor Freight sent me for free or anything. I went down yesterday to my local Harbor Freight. Finally bought one of these things. I don't know how I've survived so long without a shop press, but there have been 2 instances that I can recall that I really needed one, and I ended up, about 3 now actually, and I ended up having to go to, twice I had to pay my mechanic, and another, I got a friend who lives like 40 miles away that has this exact same press, and nobody local. So now I finally have my own. These really come in handy when you're doing things like axle bearings, which seems to be a common problem for my Jeep, and I really don't know why. But I've gone through 2 sets of bearings already on the 44 in the back of the LJ. So now if they go again, I can do the whole job myself now that I have this press. So that's a good thing. Also, like I said, I'm really hoping to get the Swag Offroad finger brake for this at some point. Or I don't know, does anybody else make a finger brake that's made to fit in this press like the Swag Offroad? If they do, let me know. Put a comment down below. Let me know what you think of this press, if you have one and have had good luck with it. Let me know if I use the wrong word to describe the things I'm calling arbors. You must know what I'm talking about. Those things that lay here, that you press on. I don't know. I don't have any. Let me know if you got a good brand of those maybe that you like. Those seem like the sort of thing that people just get along with their press and never really buy new ones. So I'm going to have to do a little research to find out which ones to buy. Any other accessories that you know of for this press that you think are, like how did you live without? Let me know. I think I'll be open to just about any of those suggestions. So thanks for watching, folks. If you like this video, go ahead and hit that like button. If you like the channel, please subscribe if you want to see more info about tools like this or fabrication, off-road, Jeep modifications, and whatnot. Those are things you'll find on this channel. Remember, if you want to support the channel, please check out SWBCrawler.com. There's lots of ways that you can support me and this whole creative endeavor. All right, so remember, folks, get out there and wheel. I'll catch you in the next video.